Good evening, Final Fantasy Randomizer fans. Welcome to the first week of the playoffs, week 5 of the Final Fantasy Randomizer Fall League. This is the first race. My name is Jat, and I'm joined in the booth here by my teammate, Sir Linklot. How are you doing tonight, Sir Linklot?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. Pretty excited that we've made the playoffs, and we get to go cheer on our teammate as well as watch these 3 other fantastic runners in Demon Frog, Dangwu, and Chadbert. So, just like every other week of the Fall League, we have a different flag set here tonight. So, Sir Lincoln, want to give us a little bit of information on the flag set you're going to be seeing these racers running tonight?
Yeah, so this week is going to be a floor entrance shuffle with deep towns. Topher is not deep. Our trap tiles are shuffled, northern docks are turned on, waterfall is going to be procedurally generated if we find it and need it. Shop prices are 33 to 300%, that's kind of standard, but enemy stats are kind of where it gets a little crazy. It can be anywhere from 30 to 300%. That's where things can get either really squishy or they can be really tough. Outside of that, we've got XP at 3.0 times plus 150 and 10% extra per key item.
Yeah, so lots of interesting things, but if you're a little bit less familiar with this, it is entrance floor shuffle, so things are going to be getting crazy, but it's no shard hunt. You're going to have to kill 4 fiends, loot, key, and that's going to be your win condition. So we're going to be in go mode once we've killed 4 fiends and have the loot and the key. So keep your eyes peeled for that. While we kind of wait, the gate dropped right at 8 p.m. Eastern, so we're 10 minutes ahead, so we're going to be dropping it very quickly here. Let's just quickly take a look at these parties. So we see 2 black belt comps, 1 fighter comp, and 1 who's hedging their bets on either side. What do you think, Sir Linklot?
I mean, it's a nice variety of parties, so we're going to see probably a lot of different strats. You know, Dangwu will probably see a 3-man or 2-man party. Chadbert went with a really safe party when it comes to Black Belt Rainbow. Demon Frog's going a little bit more risky. He's got no white mage, so potentially could be locked out of exit, which could be huge in entrance floor shuffle. Yeah. Potentially being locked out of all life magic, and if those fiends and Topher roll high, that could be bad. And then we've got DBS with a fairly safe party when it comes to entrance floor shuffle.
And yeah, with that, we are off. So checking that first thing, we have Titan's Trove, so we will be coming back there once we have the Ruby. Some really interesting things can happen with Titan's Trove, as it is technically connected. And, right off the bat, that red mage getting burned a little bit with life available, white mage only. So that is not a good sign. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't look like Demon Frog's going to re-roll. Re-rolling is, of course, allowed here. We don't have a draft. And we have some mediocre sweeping magic in Fire 2 and Bane.
Yeah, Black Magic's not terrible, could be better. We do have Pro Ring plus 2s in Canary, so you probably note that down for later. But yeah, seeing life locked out immediately, it's not like something like Exit, which is super important, but seeing one of the life spells already locked out, that does not look good.
Yeah. Of course, we're saying this, but this absolutely, this is a party comp. I'm sure he's practiced. It's definitely something that he's going to know and love, so no big problem with it. It's just a little bit of a risk. No life, a big risk. No evasion magic also can be problematic, as white shirt and defense, of course, are out there, but you might not want to open that many chests, especially with the black belt comp. So while our runners quickly take a look at this first entrance, and in Temple of Fiends, we have Temple of Fiends. What are kind of the major differences between a black belt strat versus a fighter strat in these flag sets?
I mean, the main difference on this one is it's just kind of like anything else, where you're looking for that nice grind for your black belt, whether it's off of a hard reset or a spike tile, something like that. And instead of opening boxes, you're finding that grind. So the time you spend looking for boxes and everything like that, you're just trying to find that grind. So that's going to be the major difference. We're probably going to see a lot more boxes open up on DVS until he's comfortable with equipment, whereas all the black belt parties, we might just see skipping boxes that are just a little bit out of the way and just grabbing what's on the way and hoping for something like ribbons, equipment like that.
Yeah, for sure. And something that you guys can all keep your eyes on as you're watching is actually what Dangwu decides to do. Because if Dangwu decides to let his fighter die for a little bit, get the experience on the black belt, it's probably closer to a black belt. It's probably benefits black belts. And if he decides to let his fighter or his black belt die and focus on his fighter, it's probably better for his fighter. So, you can watch a very experienced player in Dangwu in the top right to kind of figure out which party comp is doing a little bit better in the flag set. But yeah, what you're looking for, swords, grind, those are kind of the big trade-offs here. And it looks like something has Stone Touch, or cast a stone spell. That's not very nice for a DVS, but does get some early levels on his Black Mage and White Mage, so that's not the end of the world.
Yeah, definitely not very nice whatsoever.
So Lord Goober3 asking in chat, and yeah, feel free to ask any questions you might have in chat. What's incentivized? The only thing that's incentivized that's not like a key item is an opal bonk, or sorry, an opal bracelet. So that's going to be worth one of the items that's incentivized, as well as there are 2 dud items. So there's no loose, but there's 2 incentive locations that are going to turn up nothing but like cash or a heal pot.
And yeah, we kind of saw a little bit. We've got Blizzard Imps, it looks like, but we kind of saw what those 30 to 300% flags can do with enemy stats. DVS finds a ghoul that survives a fire 2 at 96 damage. We've got a Sharknado floor.
Yeah, so once again, a couple key things about the Sharknado floor. Obviously a lot of chests for those fighter players, but also 3 distinct grind tiles. So black belt players will definitely be checking that. Oh, and we have a ProcGen waterfall. So what is ProcGen waterfall, Sir Link-a-Lot?
The map is completely random. The game makes it up for us. We can still find the robot, but as far as the basic map where you might know where it is, we really have no idea where it is. And I think we found our grind, potentially, depending on how squishy these eyes might be.
Yeah, so that is a huge advantage to the black belt players, assuming these eyes don't have, 600 HP. And even if they do, in one of the practice seeds the other day, I was fighting 600 HP eyes, and they were still pretty good just because they're so safe. It doesn't necessarily mean they're the fastest thing in the world, but a safe grind is a good grind, especially in this early game. And yeah, so these eyes, I would estimate about 400 HP.
Yeah, it might be a little bit lower than that, but yeah, that's definitely probably going to be your grind. Get that black belt up to, probably the 21. That'll be when you probably gonna start 1 to 2 shotting them, I would imagine. And we didn't see anything scary from them yet either. So
yeah, so yeah, that is a very, very good sign for your black belt players out there. So you said level 21. Is there a particular reason for that?
So level 21 is when the black belt gets its 5th and 6th hit. So it gets a very, very nice DPS spike when that happens.
And then the other breakpoints of note for the black belt will be 32, 42, and 50. So I would not be surprised at all to see black belts going up to 42 in the late game, but 21 is an excellent place to kind of clear entrances, essentially, and most of the early fiends. Although, with the scaling, I have seen some fairly scary Kraken 1 fights, carry 1 fights.
And be completely honest, I mean, depending on your party, for the most part, I wouldn't be surprised even to see some of these players just maybe go there if they know that spike tile's there and grab your levels, like get to 15, 16, 17. At that point, you're pretty safe just diving dungeons, even with just the the low-level magic we have. You have a lot more health, magic resistance, everything like that.
Early levels, almost always better than late levels. Yes, we have 10% EXP scaling, but you could easily do that. So yeah, so one of my partner from the co-op tournament, Brent Reynolds, is in chat here, and yeah, he's definitely someone who's saying, let's just grind it all up at the beginning. I probably wouldn't go whole party 32. Maybe with a fighter, like if I had a fighter rainbow, I might consider that, but I think taking at least an early game grind. Something that they might be looking for, though, is a better sweeper. If they can get a better sweeper, which means they have to find one of those deep towns, and that really changes things. But if they can find a better sweeper, it's going to speed up that grind a lot versus casting 4 casts of Fire 2 for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, like I guess we would find Provoke, not necessarily Melman, because we got to get those levels to get level 5, but something like Provoke or Elflin, get like Nuke or Fade, that would definitely make it a lot faster.
Chain Armor -1, always a good pickup for your Knight and your Red Mage.
Yeah, and probably take notice of the gold -2s as well.
That's a Demon Frog team in the top left. And let's see what we have for magic here. So don't be a good spell in slot 3. Nope, but we do have Ice... was that Lit 3 at the top? I saw Ice 3 and Brack. Yeah, and Lit 3.
Yep, and white magic, so the red mage is going to be locked out of Ruse. We'll have access to Cure 4 after a promotion if they do find the tail, though.
Okay, that's not too bad. Being locked out of Ruse is a little bit annoying, but for anyone who has a black belt, it's not nearly as big of a deal. Generally speaking, the black belt Temple of Fiends Revisited strat is kill them before they kill you. So Ruse not going to be the end of the world.
So and we've got the eye tile, but if they want to do something else, we did have a Tyro spike tile here in ice. Okay, as well. I mean, granted, it is Tyro. We have no idea how nasty those can be. They might be extremely squishy right now, but at the same time, you got to get out of Ice Cave when you're done.
Yeah, no exit or warp yet, and those are two critical spells. So if you're looking at spell lists, really important spells to be looking for at the moment: exit, warp, for entrance, floor shuffle, mobility. You're also really looking for a high-level sweeper, especially if we find Provoker or Elflin. We're looking for, at this point, Fire 3, Nuke, Fade. Those would be really important items. Or spells, sorry, and then Fast, Temper, Invis 2, and the second life spell. Those are kind of the spells to keep an eye out. You'll hear us getting excited when we see them, but just, if you want to be keeping track at home.
Yeah, especially if something like Invis 2 gets locked out of Red Mage. I mean, Demon Frog, unless he finds a white shirt somewhere, is going to have no way to bring evasion up.
Ale Markin pointing out in chat that Canary and Elflin castles have been linked together. That seems like one of the more logical Titan's tropes. Like, I imagine like an underground passageway between the two tunnels so that those, the king and the elf prince can communicate. I like it. Demon Frog finding Sarda. Did you see what item he picked up there?
That was the canal.
Ooh. So the canal is going to open up a lot of the map. Now, see, it's kind of funny. In these flag sets, I don't mind seeing the canal, but oftentimes I don't want to see it for a while, because that means sometimes I have a chance to get the canoe and the floater early. So we don't have the Ryukin Desert dock flag on, which means both the canoe and the floater are going to be required to get in the air or get the airship. But, technically speaking, you might be able to beat the game without the floater, because once again, the Gomo conditions, 4 Fiends, key loot, and you can get that at any time. And since we've already found the Temple of Fiends, that's all they need.
Yeah, and well, one of those sweepers that we were hoping for low level isn't happening because we did find Fade in Gaia.
Ooh, unfortunate. So Fade's going to be completely locked out from the Red Mage or Red Wizard, but the White Mages can learn it later.
House is at 753, aren't too bad.
Oh, that's always nice. Yeah, it's with the way that the most people taking a grind money will not become an issue soon, maybe in 10-15 minutes, but in the early game, money is always a little bit tight. Couple things the runners are really looking for. Obviously, they're looking for more mobility. If the canal's one thing, but, floater canoe, and they're also really looking for a town here. They desperately, desperately want Provoca or Elfland.
Yeah, and, the longer it takes to find one of those, it's like when do you make that decision maybe to go get those eyes and just get those levels to make your dives safe?
Yeah. Oh, God, it's such a tough call because I really hate grinds that are, like, decent grinds, but that take, like, 4 turns of sweepers. It just takes so much time to cast all those spells. But, as Bert was saying above, if you'd wipe twice in the dungeons instead of taking that grind, you've just lost all that time back. So it's really about, living on that nice edge of, what's safe and what's fast. In a nutshell, that's Final Fantasy Randomizer. Ooh. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it does kind of depend on the parties, because, a party like Dang Wu's, that is going to take a long time, because you only have the 1 Black Mage, so only 1 cast of Fire 2, whereas, a group like Demon Frogs, where you have 3 Fire 2s. It's going to be a lot faster.
Yeah, so turning your attention over to DVS side of the screen, this is not a good fight. This is unrunnable Chimeras. That Bane is incredibly low percentage chance to work, and Fire 2s are just not going to get it done. This Chimera could have, I don't know what their base HP is, but over 600 HP at this scaling. Oh, and Thunder's going to reset, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Now, let's quickly mention something for people who might be a little bit less familiar. So DVS had to make a decision there. He had 2 different choices. He could have either hard reset or soft reset the game, power cycled, or just click the reset button on the NES, which is the physical practice, and that does different things with the encounter table. So the encounter table is kind of a series, like, 5 steps encounter, 6 steps encounter, and you can either start back at the beginning of the table or continue where you left off, depending on which of those decisions you made. So what he did there was he did a soft reset, so that way he could continue on through the table to make sure that the next time he went through, he's not guaranteed to get the Chimeras in the exact same place. So you'll see these runners doing this all the time. It's a really subtle thing, but it's something that's important to pick up. And doing encounter mapping, encounter manipulation, as it's called as well, will really help you get through some of the more difficult things, as well as just get you fewer encounters on both the overworld and in the dungeons.
Yep, definitely. So we'll be seeing it, probably a combination of both of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't noticed like a super long run off the. Actually, I don't think there's a long run off the power cycle, and I haven't seen a super long run anywhere yet. But our runners probably already know if there is one. It's just harder to do as a commentator looking between 4 screens.
Yeah, we're more worried about finding stuff and not missing something than potentially what the runs are. But yeah, I know the run off the hard reset isn't. I'd say maybe 30 steps, something like that. It's not very large.
Yeah, because they got an encounter before Temple of Fiends on the walk up. That's generally a sign that it's not super long. So I did want to just quickly shout out Dark Moon EX, who's doing our restreaming tonight here on RPG Limit Break, as well as our trackers, Shadowed Flames and Ale. So thank you very much again. These people really make our lives a lot easier. We have great notes. With Entrance Floor Shuffle, lots of stuff's going on. Sir Link-a-Lot caught what Sarda's item is, but sometimes we don't, and they really bail us out, so shout-outs to them. Yeah, not too much of note. We'll be seeing what's in Ice Cave here shortly. And that's going to be... Oh, that's the herb. And we don't quite know what that turns into yet until we find the Sleeping Prince.
Well, we found another town, but not the town we're looking for.
And looks like Demon Frog has made the decision. He's kind of done a loop of the Inner Sea, and now has made a decision that eyes are the way of the future. So gonna take this. And as you said, like, we were kind of saying, oh, Red Mage Party can be a little bit dangerous, but these 3 Black Casters make this grind so much faster compared to Chadbert, compared to Deng Wu, who this grind is not even really that feasible for until he gets a few more levels so he can actually punch.
Yep, that's definitely the thing. And, it's good now, but we'll see, because, like I said, being locked out of life, Kraken is a real thing, and if Kraken rolls, high on the stats, you don't have any evasion, it's really not going to care who it is. It's just Kraken will one-shot.
Yeah, he could also decide to open chests until he finds the defense or the white shirt, which could help as well, because that does mean like a solo black belt can beat chaos. Like a solo level 42 black belt can beat chaos with a defense sword, no question about it. But that is a decision that he'd have to keep opening chests, and that loses a lot of the benefit of having that black belt instead of the fighter comp, where you kind of have to keep opening chests until you find a sword, preferably a ribbon, maybe some good armor.
And right now I almost feel like, you haven't found Life 2 yet. We are missing, Crescent Lake. We're still missing On-Rack. So there's a decent chance Life 2 is available, but you also have to promote potentially as well, depending on where it lands.
Yeah, we're looking at 13 slots left for Life 2. So, not terrible, but it's about half.
Yeah, and some of these overworld encounters are not very nice. I know I saw arachnids with something particularly nasty, and we've got, look like tigers with squint.
And we also had blizzard imps earlier, or something along those lines, so...
Yes, those as well, so...
So kind of a couple different strategies we're seeing from our various runners. DVS in the bottom left has been a little bit more exploration focused. Meanwhile, the other runners have taken a little bit more time to get some levels along the way. Both strategies are valid. So far, DVS hasn't wiped too many times, so that means that the exploration first strategy will allow him to get a few more key items, get experience a little bit faster, and potentially have better spells to do his grind. So that is a big benefit. But if he wipes once or twice, especially deep in a dungeon with no warp and exit, all that advantage is going to be lost. So at this point, it's kind of a toss-up. Yeah, so at this point, no real edge anywhere. No one's found a huge item. No one's checked something out of the way. I would say this black shirt is quite a nice pickup, though, for DVS. The other runners will find that pretty easily, but black shirt casting Ice 2, really a big help for getting through some of these encounters, especially things that resist fire.
Yeah, and speaking of big items, though, Demon Frog found the floater in Waterfall, but it is behind worms with cremate that like to ambush, it looks like, as well. So,
cool. So the floater, a huge pickup once they find the canoe. The floater for now not going to be a major advantage, but because the other runners left it behind, they didn't finish clearing Waterfall. You have to hope that everyone remembered to write that down, because otherwise Demon Frog's going to have a gigantic advantage. Now, with the level of these runners, we are in the playoffs. Most of these runners should be writing things down and know which entrances they haven't cleared, but, in the middle of a race, slip-ups absolutely do happen. See Deng Wu in the top right doing something interesting, deciding that he wants to check what's off the power cycle here to try and find a grind. Either that or he's just burning encounters to try and dodge the chimeras. Both are very smart plays. I think he's trying to dodge the chimeras though.
That's what it looks like.
I don't know what is he trying to call the vampires? I don't know what grind he's looking for on this floor otherwise.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's the only thing, about Dangwoo's party is unless Fade rolls low, at level 1, or you find an early town with it. In this case, it's level 7, so it's not. You only have potentially one sweeper, and if Black Magic rolls terrible, you don't even have a sweeper. Early game can be really bad.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so he was just trying to map encounters to figure out how to get past those chimeras, so he did it a little bit. There's the brute force approach, which is keep soft resetting until you get through, and then there's the more careful approach. Both ways have their benefits, but generally speaking, I'm a proponent of the brute force approach. We have the computational power nowadays. Who needs to logic it out? Just keep resetting until you get through. Pro Rings +2 on DVS's screen, so that's a nice find there. Pro Rings, of course, best in slot, as well as providing protection against the death element. So.
And a very nice amount of absorb. It's actually, the best arm defense you can find, or glove defense.
Yeah, so Dark Moon, our restreamer here, pointing out Deng's party doesn't really have great early game power at all. And yeah, that's one of the trade-offs, right? Deng Wu's party's benefit is that he will have the tools to beat any seed, regardless of if he finds a good sword early, if he finds a good grind early. And I mean, if there's no good sword and no grind, though, then all the people are going to be having trouble. So he has some flexibility. In exchange, losing magic is important. Something that I've really found of note when you only have a single black magic caster, and this is why the Black Belt Oreo or the Fighter Oreo is often a party I go to, or even the Rainbow, because then you have the Red Mage to beat your second black caster, is getting off fast and lock, or fast and temper, or temper and lock. Some combination of them on turn 1 is absolutely huge and really speeds up fights, and it actually makes them a lot safer by making sure that you can get through high-scaling Temple of Fiends Revisited faster. Oh, we also have Rock Gulls here in Sharknado, so that's a pretty nice find as well.
It's a nice find. It is not the eyes, sadly, though. I would definitely be taking the eyes over Rock Gulls, because eyes were not hitting even close to as hard as those Rock Gulls were. If I'm not mistaken, though, with what we've found, for the most part, I believe we've kind of checked everywhere in, I guess, the southern half of the map. With the floater where it is, I think we might have to find something like a canoe or something like that, at the
Crescent Lake,
Onrack, potentially as well. I think those are the only two, entrances that we actually have access to right now.
Yeah, we do have Northern Docks on, and we don't have the Chime, which means, yeah, we have Onrack and Crescent Lake, I believe, are the extent of what we're able to do.
Yep, and looks like DVS got the floater, made it out safely from the waterfall floors, got to get off this floor to save it.
Ooh. Ambushing snakes, but they don't hit very hard. They usually have 1,000,000 HP. But... gets out, heal up that white mage. Yeah, so DVS, with the more exploration-heavy strategy, hasn't been punished too hard, but he also was a little bit less thorough, which means that he's had to go and backtrack a few places, versus the other runners on screen have kind of been able to clear things out as they've been going. So far, once again, no one really building up a sizable advantage or any sort of lead, but we know that these runners are all going to have to get funneled to something like Onrack or Crescent Lake at this point.
Yeah, and also I guess the thing to note too with the entrances, we've already seen everything, and the fact that we have yet to even see a single fiend, that floater is probably going to be very required. Even though, Canoe will give us access to the airship at this point, but chances are one of the fiends at the bare minimum is behind that floater.
Oh, wow, okay, big item pickup on Deng Wu's side here. The Defense Sword +4. So the Defense Sword, for those of you who are not familiar, casts Ruse, and Ruse is a really important item because it's the fastest way to get evasion stacks up. So the way evasion works in this game is that you can have up to 6 quote-unquote stacks of it. And once you're at 6, you're at maximum evasion, which will get you through all punches except for critical hits. And that's absolutely gigantic. The faster you can get it up, the better. And Ruse gives you 2 casts versus Invis 2 or Invis 1 only giving you a single cast. So the Defense Sword allows someone like, say, the Black Belt, who can't normally cast white magic, cast Ruse and get those evasion stacks up quickly. This is a big benefit for parties who are running Black Belts. and especially ones who have limited white casters or who don't want to look for a white shirt. So big pickup there. Now, on the other hand, a defense +4 is like on the borderline of acceptable late game sword as well.
Yeah, I would not feel bad if I would have to swing that as my in-game sword at all.
One downside is does require promotion. So yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate, but not a deal breaker by any stretch. Chadbert, meanwhile, going into a pop grind here, something that we don't usually see. But what are your thoughts on this pop grind, and why do you think he's doing it?
Maybe just getting some levels. I'm not sure if Chadbert's checked. Spike tiles is the thing.
So if he hasn't seen these eyes or those rock golems, then yeah, those gonna be causing some problems. Meanwhile, DVS looks like he's decided to go sit on these eyes for a little bit. I think a reasonable play. All our runners kind of in a similar spot once again, and it's very unlikely to go. There's like once you get the floater, no one wants to check Lefane and Ordeals, and when you have the ship in the canal, no one wants to check Onrak and Crescent Lake because they're just far away. They take a long time to get to. They could be an entrance that leads to a Canaria location, so nothing anyways. So it's not surprising that no one's checked that yet to find that at this point what we know to be the canoe. The canoe must be in one of those two locations, or something that leads to the canoe must be in one of those two locations. Unfortunately, this grind not going Chadbert's way. So have to see. Looks like he's trying to get some levels on something else first, but unfortunately, this grind is going to be quite a bit slower than this eye tile, because this eye tile is juicy.
Yeah, and right now they're only hitting for like 40 or so, where it's like pop is nice in the sense that you always know what's there, assuming encounters aren't randomized like they were last week with Chaos Rush. But you know what potentially you can get there. Whereas, spike tiles, if you didn't check them while you're there, you have no idea. So you could be spending a lot of time to just find bad grind tiles.
Okay, so we have confirmed that the last location, which is going to be everyone's last location, Onrak, has the progression we need, because that was Bridge of Destiny in Crescent Lake. So that is going to be Tiamat. So our first of 4 fiends has been found. No reason to kill him yet. We can come back once we have the floater. So Sin Machina has a question in chat. So what is actually randomized? I'll go through a quick list of things. So right now we have entrances randomized. So Canaria Castle, not Canaria Castle. We have floor shuffled. So after Sharknado floor, not another sea floor. We have enemy stats shuffled. So their strengths, their hits, their health, all of it shuffled. We have our boss HP and boss skills and spells shuffled. We have key item location shuffled. We have item stats shuffled. So yeah, pretty much everything. The one thing that's not is the overworld map isn't shuffled, and what spells do is not shuffled, but where they are and when they're learnable is also not.
Yeah, that's the best way to say it. Pretty much everything.
Demon Frog, the first runner in this Onrak location, party at decent HP and decent level, but like a little sketchy still, but nothing too bad. Meanwhile, DVS decided to take this grind quite a while, and it looks like he's purposely keeping a 3-person grind. I think I like the strategy. Generally speaking, my ideal party comp for this fighter, Oreo, which I've ran quite a bit of in both in practice and also past seeds, has been a 3-person with one black mage there to cast faster lock and then die and take a punch. So that's not too surprising. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that is a nice ribbon, and this is kind of the point where you're running the party you find a ribbon for your 1 black belt, or your life caster, assuming we find life 2. You already have a grind tile with the eyes. This could very well be where Demon Frog is like, I'm done checking boxes.
Yep.
I've got a ribbon. I'm going. I just need key items now.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to give away all our team strats, but I think it's not uncommon knowledge that, with a ribbon and a black belt and an eye grind, that's winning the game material right there. Then you just need to go to the bottom of a bunch of floors to find items and all that. Okay, really smart check here by Demon Frog. This is really important. He realized that this is the last location possible, but this is a dead end, quote unquote, but he knew that the shop item was here. So that's a really, really smart play by Demon Frog, and hopefully all of our other runners remember to do that as well. That bottle will be turnable in Gaia. Temper level 7 in slot 1, so that is going to be Oh no, that's not Red Wizard learnable. That's slot 1 in Gaia. So yeah, that's...
Invis 1 would be learnable, which, you know, not the greatest spell for level 7, but it does... It's better than nothing.
I will always pick up Invis if it's kind of available and free, because I've had opportunities, rarely, but once or twice, where that has come in huge when I'm running out of cast in Invis too.
We're actually down to a 2-man grind now on DVS's side.
Yeah, so this is where that caster item's really paying big dividends here, because, you know, we were talking about running out of cast of Fire 2. Well, Black Shirt doesn't run out of cast.
And it's typically, depending on your monster resistances and things like that, it's typically going to do more damage than Fire 2 as well.
Yeah, in order, it's always Fire, Lightning, and then Ice in terms of low to high damage. So Ice will do the highest. However, it tends to be... It's one of the spells I'm the least excited to do, because there's a lot that resists it, and there's not much that's weak to it, versus Fire and Lightning. But yeah, fun fact, Ice 3 can do more damage than Nuke.
If a monster is weak to it, it sure can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, I meant in general, not on most occasions. So DVS, I would call that a very solid grind there by DVS. That's going to get him through most dungeons relatively safely. 21-21, yeah. Likely that he will either do a walking grind to get the rest of his levels before he goes into the Philippines Revisit, or come back later, but that's going to give him a lot of security. With the fighter in particular, you don't necessarily want to finish your grind in one go, unlike with, for example, the Black Belt. Actually, what's the reason for that, Sir Linklot?
The reason for that is once you promote, Knights and Ninjas, starting at level 15, they get 1 spell charge for every odd level. So it doesn't kind of matter when they promote, or it does. So like right now we're at 21. So DVS's Knight would, at the current moment, learn gets its spell charges at 23, 25, 27, and 29.
Mm-hmm. And of course, each level that they get takes more and more time. So getting too high leveled early can actually be a little bit problematic. If you get to level 32 with your Knight, then all of a sudden, Fighter, then all of a sudden when you promote, you're not getting your spell charges that you might desperately need for a long time. And meanwhile, Demon Frog, gonna be our first player in the air, as he has the canoe, has the floater, has done that big trek to Onrak. So he's going to be in there very quickly here, and that's going to be a big advantage in terms of he's going to be the first runner to find Provoka, the first runner to find Elfland, almost certainly, as we now know that they are indeed canoe/floater locked.
Well, it's possible they're locked a little bit more. They might be behind things like Rod and Cube, but we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Rod and Cube, not technically required, same with the Chime actually, and the Oxyale, but they all unlock additional floors/entrances. So those 4 items, nice finds early. If you don't find them early, you often end up in a situation like, for example, Demon Frog did, where you hit Onrak and you can't go any deeper, which means you have to come back later, which is a little bit annoying. Now, we did just say, Demon Frog's getting a nice edge here in terms of floater, but it is important to note that it's not like these other runners have been sitting around doing nothing while he's been running all over the continent to get in the air. The other runners have mostly been taking a grind and taking that grind earlier. So I would argue that that's not the end of the world for these other runners, and they're not really behind by any major stretch. I do want to turn your attention, though, to Ding Wu's side. So once again, a very experienced runner showing us what his decision is, and that decision is Black Belt strats. Not surprising at all. No sword has been found. Black Belt has an eye grind. So Ding Wu, we'll have to see if he decides to take that Knight up at a future time, or if it's just going to be a 3-person I comp for the rest of the game, or even a 2-person. But this is going to be a primary Black Belt damage dealing seed, and that makes a ton of sense based off what we've seen so far.
Yeah, and Demon Frog finds Canaria Castle, which we've already killed Garland, so this is 2 key items. First one being Oxale, which we've already found. Onrak, and the required loot.
Yeah, so the required loot, we're looking for the key and 3 additional Fiend fights.
Which there's a pretty high likelihood we have access to those Fiends right now, but it's not here.
So something of note, we do have the dead ends are not included in the pool. So like the Cardia Isles, for example. Demon Frog finds their deals, is noting it down. I think is going to leave it behind as he searches for some towns. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We know that warp is out there, so he's trying to find warp first so he could use the warp trick before he continues on his way. And going to the Cardia Isles to do these quick 4 checks. So I like the grind Dangwu is taking right now. I like the levels DVS is at for his kind of mid-game he's at. I like the fact that Demon Frog is in the air, and Chadberg's making some time there after a little bit of lost time on the pop grind. So, you know, all our runners still, you know, just have different strengths at this point. We're going to have to see what the randomizer rewards and what it punishes at this point. Demon Frog is still deciding to open some chests. He has found his ribbon and a grind, so, you know, looking for something else. Maybe at this point that's an Invis shirt, or perhaps it's a second ribbon. We'll have to see.
I don't think he's found the defense yet, so perhaps that's what Demon Frog is looking for right now. Did find Marsh Split, so, you know, got to go north and south to find out where they go. So 2 possibilities of what we're going to find here. Yeah,
so pro tip, don't do 1 split, leave, and then forget the other one. It's definitely never happened to me, and it always turns out well. No, it's really, really important to remember to clear both of these. And the worst case scenario, especially without warp or exit, is that there's the C split coming up right down below, because that is always a nightmare. Yeah, so Dangwu making good time of his grind, and yeah, go ahead, Sir Linklot.
It's gonna be like we did find Provoca, which gets some level 2 spells, which level 2 black magic.
Garbage.
Nothing to write home about at all.
Life. Okay, so life is Red Mage learnable, so Demon Frog going to be letting out a big sigh of relief. Other note, though, is also that Life 2 is going to be Night learnable, which is quite nice for our Night runners here, DVS, and if Dangwu decides to get his, you know, fighter promoted, also nice for him.
Yeah, it definitely makes it if we find the tail and we find Bahamut. That makes those night parties extremely safe going into Topher, because, you know, whatever fiend is going to have to take down both your knight and your white mage to wipe you out of Topher. And
you're usually not winning a fight if your white mage and your knight are gone down.
Yeah, usually if your knight goes down, assuming that's your primary damage dealer, that's usually when you're resetting anyways for the most part, unless you think it's like, I think the fiend's almost dead, let me try something with a white mage and see if I can somehow get out of here.
Yeah, like ruse with item magic. That's kind of the classic. Yep. Oh, hold and pray.
Yeah, hold and pray, item magic, potentially putting on your Moss Immune if you find it on the white mage as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, White Samurai Stride's definitely a thing. But yeah, so Provoca, definitely a nice pickup, and Demon Frog going to be very happy to have that life spell. When you have that red mage and you don't re-roll at level 1 with life in slot 2, you're kind of holding your breath until you get a second life spell, so he's definitely going to be very happy about that.
Yeah, and that was a little close on Dangwu's side. Ends up getting out of that eye fight with about 23 health. I think one more swing could have taken that black belt down, so
yeah,
I think at this point pretty safe.
If he lost that grind, that's like I'm not gonna say that's the game, but that's like a huge loss for Dangwu there if he lost that. So his teammates let out a sigh of relief as he continues on, and you know he's in very good shape to just kind of blaze through the rest of the seed with that over-leveled black belt. And by over-leveled, I mean nicely leveled.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that if it happens, you immediately feel extremely behind at that point.
Oh yeah, you never lose a grind and feel like you can win. Like, it just does not happen. Especially one that long where you took a bunch of time to down a couple party members and everything.
And just to kind of go over this is the first game of Week 5 of the Final Fantasy Randomizer Fall League. So all 4 of the teams that are in this final week, as we were at 10, we're down to 4, trying to start off the week strong and get their team up.
Yeah. So yeah, so just to go over that a little bit, in the top left, Demon Frog is representing the first place, the top qualifying team, the Trash Island Fire Department, who kind of did so much work in weeks 1 to 3 that they could do nothing essentially for week 4 and make it in. So they came off really strong, but they didn't really have the best showing in week 4. So we'll have to see what they have to show for us, now that they were coming in as one of the favorites. In the top right, we have Dangwu of the absolute powerhouse team, Team Quake and Break. They came second, and just a big, strong team of veterans. Someone who we all had our eyes out for, and from the beginning of the tournament onwards. In the bottom left, we have DVS of Team The Quackening, which certainly Kalot and I are both on, and we are all kind of players who have been in the community for about 6 months, so relative newcomers, but we've been practicing pretty hard. And then in the bottom right, we have Chadbert of the Center for Competitive Forfeiting, who came in, they were secure with 1 game to go, but they finished up coming in as the 4th place qualifying team. So scores are reset. Everything in the past does not matter. It's a full-scale reset. First place 15 points, second place 9 points, third place 6. That's not quite right. 15, 12, 8, 5, I think. So Mario Kart scoring in effect. Whoever the top 2 teams are going to advance.
Yeah, I believe all 4 teams will still run next week, but it'll be 1 and 2 are going to be seeing who the actual league champion is going to be, and then 3 and 4 still get to kind of have a nice little fun race to see who is 3rd place. About to get another incentive check in the Vampire, and unless it's the Rod, we're going to have to walk out.
Yeah. Oh, so DVS also did the same save strat that Demon Frog did, where you kind of save a little bit away from Crescent Lake, and then you just reset if it's something that you don't want, so that way he can get to on-rack without having to make that big walk around. So nice play there. Demon Frog did it as well, so, just a little time savers, but that can make all the difference for such competitive runners. Once again, Dangwu's just sitting on this grind tile, but oh man, he is going to be flying once he's done with this. He's basically saying, actually, I don't know if he's found the ribbon, but
he hasn't found the ribbon, and considering where the ribbon was, because it was on Agama floor, but it was the room that's kind of out of the way if you're just running through it, it's very possible you're skipping that room, so he might not find that ribbon, and that's the only one we found so far. There are going to be 2 more out there. It's guaranteed to be 3 ribbons in the game, but doesn't mean they're on the way.
Yeah, and it's definitely not required by any stretch, so but it is something of note that his life caster might be lacking it. Yeah, and I did want to give a shout out to Xylophian for raiding with a party of 17. Welcome, welcome. This is the Final Fantasy Randomizer Fall League, first week of the playoffs. We hope you're enjoying it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in chat. Just quickly to say, yeah, I'm Jat, and I'm joined here in the booth by Sir Linkalot, so you can tell whose voice is who.
Yeah, and that cube that we found at the Earth Cave incentive ended up getting us to Dwarf Cave, which we had the adamant already for Demon Frog. Turned that in and got a crown, which we're still looking for Northwest Castle.
And DVS is going to be very, very happy to find that Dragon Armor +3. That is best in slot armor. Of course, only for the night, and promotion is not a sure thing by any stretch here. But if he can promote, and with Life 2 available for that night, as well as the Defense +X being the best sword available, definitely going to be some serious considerations for DVS. That Knight is going to be very powerful once it promotes. So not a terrible seed for Knights either, to be honest.
No. I would be like, I wouldn't be surprised if potentially, we see DVS switch to maybe not opening as many boxes now, finding that ribbon. Really, probably, the defense isn't the greatest endgame sword, but it will work in a pinch, but, might be looking for like the Power Bonk or White Shirt at this point.
Yeah, Fast is in Elfland, or it's level 8 in Lefane, and it's much more likely to be in Elfland. So, with Fast, I would be feeling pretty good about the defense sword. Okay, so DVS also critically making the check, knows it's in the shop.
Oh, we found Sky 2, which is another incentive item here.
And yeah, Demon Frog kind of showing his, I don't need more boxes. And the Ruby's going to take you all the ways back to where we started it, to that underground tunnel between the 2 castles. So Dang Wu had a few kind of scary moments in that grind. Trance, 40 health, etc. But has completed the grind and is about to hit the gas. So Dang Wu's going to be making some very good time here.
And Demon Frog finds Bahamut, which does end up being in the Cardia Isles, not in its normal location, but it's only a couple floors deep, so you might see potentially like Dang Wu, DVS if they find the tail. More than likely DVS for sure, but Dang Wu and DVS, if they get the tail, they'll probably be making their way there to do a promotion. Especially since Dang Wu's already leveled his black belt, really doesn't hurt anymore to do that promotion.
Yeah, so why would I not promote if I can?
So as far as not promoting, the main reason is going to be if you have a black belt. What happens is the black belt gains 4 magic defense every level. Once you promote to a Grand Master, however, it only gets 1.
Ooh, that sounds like a pretty bad penalty. However, if you're level 42 already, you've gotten so many levels of that plus 4, plus 3, sorry, I just blanked on it. But, if you're getting that higher MDEF growth, that the remaining levels aren't that big of a deal. At 42, I believe you have ribbon defense to everything except for Bane. So, yeah, not really too concerned about promoting, and that can unlock, those high-level spells and for the mages.
Yeah, and we did see the Ruby get given to the Titan, so we could check the incentive location, but it ends up being it's a nice thing to find, but it's not what you're looking for. We did get the Opal bracelet.
Yeah, the Opal Cheerio, as it's called in the community. Demon Frog right away, though, right onto another incentive location, as he has found Volcano, which is really an important floor. This is both the second Fiend carry as well as an incentive item. Yep. So, gonna be checking this out quickly. And Chimera's not a terrible grind if we didn't already find those eyes.
The scary part is I believe they have some nasty spells, and Demon Frog really doesn't have... I mean, he's got the Thor Hammer, depending on what they rolled. Might not be able to get through this, potentially, and you can't run from them either.
Yeah, Fire and Bane, both terrible against the Chimeras. So, not good, and this is one of the disadvantages of not doing that grind early. I was mentioning DVS not doing the grind early, but then he kind of doubled back and decided to do the grind. I mentioned Deng Wu kind of just was like grind from the get-go, and he's, really going to be benefiting from the safety of that. He's, Chimeras are not going to be a problem for that black belt to punch down. But Demon Frog got the exploration lead, but he is running into that hole, and the longer that he sits in this fight, the worse it's going to get, because I don't think he's getting through these.
I mean, it's possible because there's Thunder. I was like, I know the Chimeras have Thunder, so if they decide to pull that out, considering there's 3 of them, you're not surviving that with the current party you have.
Oh, he's going back in, though. What? I don't know what strategic adjustment he can make.
Yeah, I'm really not sure here. Maybe just hoping you don't get paralyzed?
Yeah. Okay, so DVS is still checking chests, but this is going to be his defense sword, and now's kind of the decision time. So keep your eyes peeled on DVS's screen in the bottom left to see if he decides to keep opening boxes. Meanwhile, Deng Wu finding Tia and saying, hey, you know what? I have a 42 black belt. I'm going to go punch down Tia, because I am not afraid.
If Tia takes me out, I've got some more issues I need to worry about.
Yeah, and also it's just a quick way back to that reset point so I can go to Crescent Lake to get my canoe. Do you want to take PB Boyer 2's question in chat, Sir Nicola?
Yeah, so Flake Sets, the big things for tonight are going to be its entrance floor shuffle is the kind of the big thing, or the, I guess, specialty of the week for the league.
So we've had different flags every week, and as you said, entrance floor here, as well as deep towns, notably. Enemies 30 to 300%, so we have a large variance, and they all lean on the upper end of that. Well, the middle of that, more accurately. So, HP going to be in the high 100 range on average.
Also, I'm going to say this, who needs a 42 black belt when you just have Breck on first turn and it works?
Seems like a good strategy. It definitely works 100% of the time, right?
Sure, it does definitely work 100% of the time, but that does actually mean, we're 46 minutes in. That was actually the first orb being lit of all 4 runners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, sorry, more accurately, pardon my sarcasm, Brack works 26% of the time on Tia 1, so pretty good odds, and it is definitely a solid kill condition, but definitely not something that can be relied on to hit first turn every time.
It's one of those, if you got it, burn it, especially with the 42 black belts. Like, something's going to kill this Tiamat.
Yeah.
I don't really care what it is. If a Brack does it on turn 1, great. If it doesn't, the black belt probably will do it.
On turn 2, yeah. Classic gamer, given the real stats. I know, it's not exactly 26%, but it's close enough to 26% that you can deal with it. Like, that can be a good enough estimate.
Let's see, what do we got in hand? White, there is Invis 2. So Invis 2 is learnable by Red Wizard.
In Crescent Lake?
Yep.
Oh, and Lock is going to be locked... it's going to be locked out from the Red Wizard, which isn't a big deal with 2 black belts, but it does hurt a little bit. Lock is a really, really important spell on these scalings. More often than not, especially with a black belt comp, the issue is not going to be needing tempers, or even fast. The issue is going to be needing locks, because if you can't hit it, you can't kill it, and the crit rate for black belts is half. So for those of you who played the vanilla game and remember your 42 black belt destroying everything, well, it's still the case, but not quite to the same extent, especially when you're dealing with high evasion.
You're still One Punch Man, basically. Sometimes it's Two Punch Man.
Yeah, I've had flags where it's been a little bit worse than that without any cast of lock, but it usually will get the job done.
Yep, definitely.
The sages had the crystal, so that will turn into something once we find Matoya.
Yeah, so I think our progression, if I'm not mistaken, considering what our key items look like on Demon Frog's side, has to be behind the rod that we found. Which was behind the Chimeras.
Has he checked Waterfall?
Yeah, Waterfall was where Floater was.
No, sorry. Has he checked, like, the Waterfall
location?
The
Waterfall location. Wait, no, I don't believe we have, so that's
yeah.
One of the two. Never mind.
Sorry, yeah. In Entrance Floor Shuffle, this is the co-op problem to end all co-op problems. It's saying, is it the location on the overworld or the location where they're going to? And in this case, I meant, has he checked the Waterfall entrance? Because that could still lead to something. What incentive locations are we still looking for? We're still looking for... We found Ordeals, we found Titan's Trove, we found Sky. Oh, we haven't found Earth, right? So as you said,
we found Earth. Mermaids would be a big one.
No incentive item there, though.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's not an incentive item there. What are we missing then? Oh, maybe. Northwest Castle and Elf Castle. Both of the castles.
And Matoya, actually. All our item turn-ins. And that is going to provide, as we have a C-split in Waterfall. Kind of fitting. What do you think? C-split in Waterfall?
Yeah. Actually, I'm wondering. It's DVS I just noticed was in Ordeals. Has anybody checked Ordeals yet?
I don't think anyone's gone through it. I know Demon Frog saw it and then skipped it, because I think he was waiting for Warp. But P-Boyer2 asking in chat, why does the current position favor Dang? Well, I wouldn't really say Dang is quote-unquote winning, but he has a major advantage in having the 42 black belt. And the 42 black belt is the One Punch Man to end all One Punch Man. So he can basically kill anything from now almost all the ways until the end of the game. So he can go very quickly, open very few boxes, and he just has to find his go mode, versus the other runners still have to potentially kill more enemies, get more items, have to play a little bit safer. The disadvantage for Dengwu is that it is 50 minutes in and he is still not in the air. So once again, not saying he's in last, but also not saying he's in first.
We found Kraken at the C-split, so we are looking for Lich and Lich alone at this point, and then we need the key. That's about it. So Ordeals, I'm not sure if you saw on DVS's side, that was our tails. So Demon Frog isn't going to pay too much for skipping this if it doesn't end up coming back.
Yeah,
but
so
it's definitely something DVS is probably happy to see, because hasn't found Bahamut now, so when you do find it, immediately can do your promotion.
Yeah, and I think that's where he's going to be going next. The general route with the floater is Volcano, Ice Cave, Sarda, that, and then to Cardia, which is exactly where he's going next. So he will be promoted very shortly. He'll be very, very, very happy about that. But meanwhile, Demon Frog, all the black belt players also happy because they're going to be able to skip Ordeals entirely, and that's always a good thing. So DVS losing time but gaining some safety with that promotion, as well as the defense sword, the dragon armor, and the life 2 on the fighter.
Wonder how much you leave it off though, because it is an incentive location. Potentially, if he finds Lich, he might rush it just because it's an incentive item. not having found anything else, because if you find all 4 fiends and you have open incentives where where they are, it's almost better to kind of do that rather than kind of, I guess, spin your wheels and hope you find it elsewhere.
Actually, yeah, I completely agree. That's a really good point. Okay, so Demon Frog, remember how we said having 2 strategies is helpful? Well, Demon Frog's on the other side. This is Bane and Prey. I am 100% positive Classic Gamer 76 will give us the odds on Bane, but he does get 1 to hit. That looked pretty close to, I think, slightly on the lucky side considering how many casts he got off, but, that was a legitimate strategy, and the penalty for him losing that wasn't huge, but definitely substantial if that didn't work out.
Definitely. So it gets his first orb lit.
Meanwhile, Chadbert taking some slime fights. These Fire 2 is effective against the slimes. They can have a lot of HP though, which can be a problem. And Dangwoo finally has his canoe. He's going to be in the air in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, give or take, depending on how the encounters go, because it's not like an encounter is going to stop him, even if it's, hey, you can't run from this encounter. It's like, cool, I have a 42 black belt, I'll just punch you and then I'll run.
13%, yeah, that's what I thought it was, but Bert, that's not precise enough. Classic Gamer is going to give me the out of 256 chance. So the reason it's out of 256 is because of that's the length, and it's going to roll a number between 0 or, I don't know if it's between 0 and 255 or 1 and 256, probably 0 and 255, and if it's lower than the threshold, it goes off. So Demon Frog going to buy some pro rings, deciding he's done with being scared. Meanwhile, DVS having to walk out. Very unfortunate, actually, that we haven't found Warp or Exit yet.
We still haven't found Elfland, and I know from, looking at our notes that we have, level 8 magic hasn't been checked at all. So I know we found Gaia, but nobody actually took the time to go look at the level 8 magic, or there just wasn't anything critical there. We haven't found Elfland, so it's very possible we have both Exit and Warp sitting in Elfland right now.
Yeah, Exit and Warp's utility goes down a lot if that's the last place you check.
Yes. It's one of those things you want early. You do not want Exit or Warp late.
Yeah, and DVS kind of saying that I'm done opening chests, as he is just being like, nope, I'm going to be happy with what I have. So that means he's committing to that defense plus 3 or 4 sword, which I don't think is a bad decision at all. Dangwoo getting key block. Let's get your whatever you want out in chat for that key lock door. Is Dangwoo's like, hey, I can go here, and then forgot he didn't have the key.
You thought you could.
Yeah, Dangstrat's probably the right one.
I mean, just saying, with a 42 black belt, you would think it could just punch the door open, because you can one-shot chaos sometimes. Is the door really going to stand in your way?
No. It's a mystic key. That means it's a mystic door. Black belts, they only resist magic. They can't get through it. And there we go. Classic Gamer, 38 out of 256 is the odds on Bane on Kraken.
All right, DVS did find Bahamut, did get the promotion. Gets those nice upgrades.
Yeah. Whoa, keeping the Flame +4 equipped over the defense. I don't think that's right, but I might be wrong. It might have higher crit rate, which might end up being better, but the defense definitely has higher base strength. Demon Frog, meanwhile, clearing some new locations, also basically done opening boxes. Not surprising. But I'm just waiting for Demon Frog to go do a grind. I'm a little bit surprised he hasn't yet, because the problem is if you find a fiend down here, it's kind of sketchy if you kill it or not.
I mean, it's going to be Lich at this point, so not the worst fiend, but yeah, we don't have a lot of firepower, and there's our key, so that's technically go mode.
Yeah, we're Lich and Go at this point. So that key opens up one more incentive location, which is the Canaria Castle locked location. So that's something that he is going to be able to check. And that, we've checked all the entrances, so that has to lead to Chime, or below Onrak has something that leads to Chime. So there's 2 locations left for him. There's whatever Canaria Castle opens up, and then below Onrak. Oh, this was below Onrak, so he has to go turn in that key.
Yeah, so now the question is, when do the runners go and check that? Because you've already went there once, so that's a double dip. So I'm sure you check that when you check waterfall as well. But yeah, potentially the only item we may still need, technically at this point, to get into an entrance in case Lich is behind it, is Chime.
Yes, correct. I think the key has to be Chime or something that leads to Chime, but I might be wrong.
There are a couple entrances, because I guess according to our notes from our trackers, the bottom split on Marsh hasn't been checked yet.
Ooh. That's kind of sketchy. I'm surprised by that, but we will see. Oh, and the rod, going past the rod lock as well.
Yep. So yeah, we've got quite a few entrances to check still, so we'll see what we find.
Yeah. If this is Lich, though, Demon Frog is just straight go mode, and at that point I would expect him to fully just go commit to a grind. So yeah, Chadbert's still trying to get off the ground here a little bit, just struggling a lot. Not checking those spike tiles, not finding that eye grind has really, really hurt.
And I'm kind of surprised to see that, because it's like, it feel like, you know, when you're running a black belt, it's like, spike tiles are more important than chests. Like, even if you're going to have to, especially like a first floor spike tile and entrance floor shuffle,
yeah,
those are things you just check, even if you have to reset out of it to get that knowledge. Because if you see something like the eye grind or something like that, you're like, especially where it was like, there's my grind. I need to find my items and what I need and get going. And we have a Warmech.
Hello, robot chicken friend. So Warmech, of course, only showing up on the Bridge of Destiny here, not guaranteed either, but, you know, this will really help Dangwu actually get his other party members up a little bit of EXP, so it's definitely not a bad thing for Dangwu to find this here.
It's assuming we can hit the Warmech, because that black belt missed, and missed again.
Remember that whole talk we were having about black belts at 42 not being able to kill anything without luck? That's the problem right there, especially with the crit rate changes off. With the crit rate changes on, I agree, but without crit rate changes on, it can be tough. So see, Demon Frog doing what the 42 black belt couldn't do, opening the Mystic Key lock doors, and is about to find an item, which is the TNT.
So technically not what we're looking for. I mean, it helps him because he still has yet to do his grind, so that is the one thing to know. Having put off his grind as long as he has, he knows where the eye grind is. It is going to go faster for him because of all the key items he has in comparison to the rest of the runners. So that is not a fun pack to see. The Red Sahagan, Wiz Sahagan pack. And Red Sahagans look like have Fire 2, and I saw a glance in there, which petrified the poor knight.
Oh, and they have a bunch of HP too. This is not looking good. Demon Frog, meanwhile, about to go turn in that adamant, or sorry, that TNT, and gets the slab. Oh goodness, wow. Oh, that's just the worst item to find. Like, not actually the worst, it is still technically progression, but that's just involving going all over the map with deep towns, just a royal pain.
Definitely.
So assuming DBS gets out of this, yeah, so he's totally okay now, but that was not a good fight for him. Meanwhile, Chadbert, on to that Marsh split. So gonna be happy to see this, but also means there's a lot of work to be done. Meanwhile, Dangwu is about to two-punch a Kraken.
Or was that one punch?
I think that was the second turn, but I might be wrong. Regardless, not a very long-lived. Oh, 3 punches! Wow. All this hype about this black belt one punch manning everything, just not happening right now. I do want to point out though the reason for it is mostly that the crit changes are off. It makes a huge difference for the black belts.
It really does. Oh, Oozes have Lightning 3, so that's a fun thing to see.
Yeah, I agree, Chasing Air. Three punch man, not quite the same. Chadbert getting ambushed by some red bones. And oh, we have found Alfland at long last.
And we have fast and fire 3, so a little bit more offense. But fast, definitely, that is something you were looking for.
Oh yeah, fast. It's not necessary, but man, oh man, does it speed up fights and make things a lot safer. And I would argue that it's way more important for the knight than it is for the black belt.
Yeah, I mean, the black belt, it does help out immensely, but yeah, the knight, it helps out a lot more. And nothing good in white magic, which we kind of found all the critical spells anyways. And there's warp, so that means, I believe, nuke and exit are both level 8.
Yep, but I don't think that's the end of the world.
No, it's late enough in the seed where exit's just kind of one of those, this would have been nice to have, but oh well.
This would have been nice to have an hour ago, yeah. So yeah, actually at that point, we are at the 1 hour mark, so I'll give a quick recap of what you're watching here. So my name's Jad, I'm joined here in the booth by Sir Linkalot. Today we have tracking done by Ale Markin and Shadowed Flames, and restreaming is by Dark Moon EX. You are watching Week 5, the first week of playoffs of the Final Fantasy Randomizer Fall 2020 League. We are looking at the top 4 teams. Each team has 4 players. Each of those players races once, and we end up doing Mario Kart scoring. The top 2 teams will go on for the gold medal match, and the 3rd and 4th place teams will fight for bronze. So you are watching Entrance Floor Shuffle here. Everything's all randomized. We have different entrances, different floors. The towns are deep. Everything's a little bit chaotic. An hour into the seed, though, and it's kind of the tale of a bunch of different benefits. Demon Frog in your top left has done the most exploration, but hasn't done a grind. Dang Wu has the almost unkillable, unstoppable 42 black belt, but a little bit of an exploration deficit to DVS, who's kind of in the middle. Has done a bit of a grind on the fighter, doesn't need as much of a grind, but also not as quite as far advanced as Demon Frog, and also not nearly as safe in Temple of Fiends Revisited. So hopefully you're tuning in. Meanwhile, Chadburn's had a little bit of a struggle getting through the early game, but he's catching up some ground now, and you know what? You never know. He's got a pretty nice party for this particular flag set, so I would not be surprised to see him be able to get his feet off the ground if he can find that grind soon.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be interesting when we start seeing everybody, when they get that knowledge where it's just like, this is what I need to find, and they get it, it's like what's going to happen, because yeah, Dangwoo just needs to find it at this point. Demon Frog, Chadbert, when they find it, they still need to grind, and DVS is kind of at that point where he could probably make an attempt and, kind of cross your fingers and hope that Topher's not a nasty Topher, because it is very possible, you spend all this time grinding and then everything just rolls nice and easy. And speaking of grind, it looks like that's what's going on in Demon Frog's mind. It's time.
Yeah, so I did want to highlight here, this is something I was talking about earlier, like Demon Frog lost some time by waiting on this because he wiped, he had to he's going to have to go back to a bunch of the fiends. Meanwhile, Deng Wu could clear them on his first try. However, he has the benefit of that his spells are a lot faster at killing these eyes. So he's going to be able to blaze through this grind just a little bit quicker. Plus, he has the bonus EXP from all those key items. So this grind will be faster, but will it be fast enough to make up the time that he lost getting it set up? That's kind of the question. Greggly Puff asking, did he know? Yeah, he found it early. He just decided to wait to come back to it later.
Which is really surprising considering, we've got 4 different party compositions on the screen. He kind of had the party composition that was technically the best to do this. It's Fire 2 still wasn't the greatest, but when you have 3 casts of it, these eyes were still going to go down quite a bit. So it's like, enough to kind of get you up to that mid-level to where when you do the exploration, you're not risking as much, but...
But yeah, so this is going to be a very similar story here for Demon Frog. He's going to take that black belt out to 21 or so, then start danning off some party members. He's already starting to dan off a few party members, but then he'll dan down or let die down to a single party member, and then he will get that black belt up, most likely to 42. I'd say not going to 42 is fairly risky with crit rate not on and kind of the levels, or the scaling that we're at.
I think it's going to be kind of one of those feelings like, how much do you want to risk? Because, like, you have a 42 black belt, chances of you getting bounced out of Topher, they are still there. If Kraken rolled high on strength and decides to hit your black belt before you get any evasion stacks off, it can do over 1,000 damage easily. But, if everything rolls low and you spend all that extra time, somebody who went in, like, with a 32 black belt, or, in DVS's case, you've got a knight, they might just get through it nice and quick.
Mm-hmm. I definitely want to point out the fact that we have fast and a defense sword has to come into that calculation. Like, fast and a defense sword makes everything feel much more doable with the 32 black belt. Like if I didn't have fast, I would probably not consider it, but with fast, I'm definitely in, especially with 3 black casters, so you can go fast, lock, lock, turn 1. That's still plenty of damage.
Yeah,
or fast temper lock.
I'd almost say, you know, depending on where you bring the black belt, like fast lock is almost better because, you know, temper's nice and everything, but once you fast a 42 black belt, it's like you have 20 hits.
Yep.
I mean, things might survive, but it's usually not going to be too long if you're hitting.
Yeah, I agree. DVS not using warp. I think he might just have forgotten that he has it.
Did DVS find Elfland?
Oh, he hasn't found Elfland, sir. Okay, that explains some things. Key is on a chain
behind
somewhere.
Oxtail. Behind Oxtail.
Yeah, behind Oxtail.
Which you need the crystal for.
Yeah, so you're going to see DVS, or sorry, Demon Frog. Man, 3D names here. You're going to see Demon Frog kind of, quote-unquote, lose the time edge that he had hitting go mode first as he does this grind. And that's why it's really hard to tell who's doing well until the grinds are all done, the key items have all been collected, and whoever enters Temple of Fiends revisited first. And even then, some parties are going to have certain advantages depending on which boxes they open, what level their parties are, and all that stuff. Chadbert taking on this Big Eye Gershark tile. This is worth a ton of EXP if you can get it down, but these guys can roll up with a lot of HP. With 30 to 300% scaling, though, you don't really know where that is. Gregly Puff incorrectly stating, based off his teammate bias, that Deng is in the lead because he has a 42 black belt. There's a lot of backtracking required in this movement.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of where the thought is that he's in the lead is if Dangwu finds a fiend, he can kill it. Like, you saw Tiamat, he had the 42 black belt, Bracket ended up killing it on turn 1, but it's one of those things, Brack is there, it's nice, but with a 42 black belt, you're not worried about TO1 taking you out.
Oh man, lobsters have trance, this is nasty. And meanwhile, Demon Frog lost his grind on the way out. If he was down to a single black belt, he didn't have warp available, so, that's kind of unlucky, but remember at the very beginning of the seed, we were talking about if you lose a grind? Yeah. Oof.
Don't like seeing that happen, but it does sadly happen.
Yeah, Deng Wu decided to go and promote, once again, not surprising at all.
Yeah, and that's another reason why, you did that grind early, so if you find the tail, you find Bahamut, your black belt's already where it needs to be, you're not losing anything at that point by putting off class changing.
Mm-hmm. And DVS also has the magic of Brack first turn.
Well, that was actually a Bane on first turn, and then Dang Wu just punched.
Yeah, I agree with Aelmark, and Deng wants the life 2 on his knight to get a second life caster. It's a really big benefit. The question is, how many levels will he get? But I mean, his knight was fairly low level, so...
I believe DVS right now, Tracker doesn't say he has the crystal, but this, if I'm not mistaken, is where our key is.
Oh, we're getting a Cope talk. Goodbye, Cope. Deng Wu doing a quick inventory stock check. Actually, I'm a little bit surprised that he's even checking boxes, but I guess he just wanted to... Or is that Titan's Trove?
Yeah, this was Titan's Trove, but he still also was missing a ribbon. So that's kind of one thing to think of. Is like, you know, your black belt has those ribbon resistances. Chances are, you know, it still can go through it, but nobody else does. And yeah, black belt can solo Topher, but you know, if something's super evasive, something like that, it gets sketchy.
Yeah. He does have 2 life casters though, which is a benefit that actually a number of our runners will have. All our runners, except for Demon Frog, have actually.
Yep.
So Demon Frog doing his grind again. DVS did not have the crystal, so he has found his location, but he left the crystal behind somewhere.
Let's see, where was Crystal? Crystal was at Sage's, so he hasn't found...
He hasn't gone to Lefane. Okay.
Yep.
That is not the wrong play, but just unfortunate ordering, and that's going to cost him a couple minutes, actually. Meanwhile, Deng Wu just making really good time here, but he, once again, still has all those checks to make still as well. Still has to go to Lefane to get the crystal, then has to go back to Onrak. Meanwhile, Demon Frog having to redo this grind, really hurting him, but he is in go mode. Deng Wu has 1 extra fiend killed. That's a major advantage, but DVS, I think once he gets this key, he's just going to kill some fiends and then go.
Well, we're still looking for Lich. No runner has actually found Lich yet.
Oh, it's at the Chime location, right? It has to be at this point?
I believe it has to be at the Chime. Actually, let me see. I believe I saw earlier, unless somebody has checked, and our trackers I'm sure will let us know. Somebody did go to Marsh Bottom, but we never saw the actual end of it.
Okay. I think all of our runners have been to Marsh, so I'm pretty sure that they would have found it by now. But, yeah.
Okay, Marsh Bottom ended at Elf Castle, so that has been checked.
Okay, so DVS does indeed have his crystal, and Deng Wu not far behind. He's in Gaia right now, and as soon as he leaves there, he's going to be going to Lefane, most likely, getting that crystal. So your top right and your bottom left runner is getting very close to go mode. Top left runner in kind of go mode, needs to find Lich, but doing his grind. Yeah. Chadberg kind of just following in the footsteps of the other runners, really just got off to a slower start, not finding an eye grind, and that's really been hurting. Outside of that, though, just in a really good in a good spot now.
Oh, this is something to note, though. Chances are this is where Lich is at Mirage. So DVS had the Chime, so very well, you know, he is already aware where the rest of the fiends are. So he might actually be considered the first runner in an actual go mode, or you know, in no mode. He knows he's only gonna have to check incentive locations. So considering Matoy is the nearest one, that might be the first one on the list. And here's Lich.
Okay, so trackers and comm team high five to each other. We did indeed figure out where the last location was. And meanwhile, Deng Wu taking down Carrie. Does DVS know where Carrie is?
I believe so. Let me see, because I know there was something important at the volcano. No, he doesn't have the rod yet, so never mind.
Okay. So yeah, so he's got a little bit of... I think DVS actually still has some information he needs to get. Meanwhile, Deng Wu killing Carrie down to a single fiend. And I'm gonna guess this is a Lefane too. He probably is gonna check Lefane, and then he was gonna check the Chime location. So this is gonna be very quick into go mode for Deng Wu as well. Meanwhile, Demon Frog down to his solo black belt. Let's see what level that is. 38. Demon Frog also not far behind. All 3 runners with different little advantages, and all 3 of them very, very close. Ooh, Deng Wu finding a stake.
The blue stake. Alright, Lich 1 is down. And yeah, chat pointing this out, Carrie is at Gaia, so chances are DVS is going to see that next, and we'll be taking Carrie out next.
Yeah, and it's definitely the correct play, because if this ends up being the key, it's faster to go here than it is to go turn in that crystal.
Yeah, we just kind of, you know, if you're rooting for DVS, you kind of want to hope after this he goes right back to Matoya with that crystal. But we'll see what happens, because you already went there, got bounced out. It's like, how long do you put off going back there? Because it does feel pretty bad to have to triple dip something.
At this point, maybe we can get our predictions out in chat, who we think is going to be getting into Temple of Fiends Revisited first. I think Dangwu is going to be first by maybe a minute over DVS, not very much, depending on where he decides to go. But right now, Dangwu has a very important decision to make, which is where he's going to go next. If he goes to turn this crystal in right away, because he still hasn't turned in, he still hasn't got his crown, he's still missing a bunch of other key items, so he might not go straight for that crystal turn in.
Yeah, that's kind of what you might be worried about. And yeah, Demon Frog still needs the chime, so he's missing a key item as well that he definitely needs.
Okay, but Dangwu is about to go kill his last fiend, so this is going to be key item go mode for Dangwu.
I mean, it's technically for DVS as well, because DVS definitely knows where Tia is.
Yes. He just hasn't done it yet, and it is important to recognize that, that is something that takes time.
Yep.
Man, these runners really showing their class right now. Very, very, very close. This is not going to be the case of, and yeah, Chadbert in the bottom right, about to take down Lich as well. Like, this is really showing these top 4 teams nice and close, neck and neck.
Actually, I just noticed something, and this might be what I think is going to push DVS back to Matoya now with the crystal, or hopefully we'll have the crystal after this. Temper is sitting in on-rack, which needs to go back to it. He did buy it, but then he left. He just reset out of it because he didn't have the crystal. So, you're thinking, I need Temper. So, might be going back for that.
Yeah, this carry being a big issue for DVS. Once again, this is the difference between that black belt and that non-black belt. Brack not going to be very effective against carry. Meanwhile, Dangwu is about to take down his last fiend, while Demon Frog decides that Ordeals is the faster check here. Okay, Cure 4 coming out. That's the right play. Meanwhile, Ankylo's causing problems for Chadbert. Well, Demon Frog skipping all the chests, going straight to that last chest. Cheeky Quad X did not go off.
This carry has a lot of elf. It definitely rolled. I think we're above the 200, and there goes the White Mage.
And let's see where Dangwu's going. Oh, if he's going straight... Okay, he's not. I was going to say, if he's going straight to on-rack, this is looking really good for Dangwu.
It's whole day and pray time.
So, something that DVS... Oh my goodness, wow. Gets out barely. I'm very surprised he didn't max evasion there.
I mean, you think it's carry 1, you're thinking it can't be that bad, right? And then it becomes bad.
So Dangwu deciding to do the rod check first. Totally logical, and fortunately not the play he needs to make.
Oh, and DVS is actually leaving Levain. It's going to Ordeals.
Once again, also, I think this is Elfland, so I think this is not a bad thing for DVS. But is not the right place either. So if you're cheering for Dangwu, Dangwu needs to go to Onrak. Send him all of your beautiful Hotel by the Lake thoughts. Demon Frog doesn't need to go anywhere, except I guess he needs to go to the Chime location.
Need to find Chime. Which is, let me double check on that. Chime is behind the herb. Which I believe that's where he's actually on his way to.
I think so too.
I believe this is, I think it's the next floor or two. Is where Elf Castle was. Because I'm pretty sure he's in Marsh Bottom, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so as well. Oh, I did not see this earlier, but level 3 White Magic has heal 3, which is a really nice pickup. And yeah, Dangwu not happy about that cube, but he will continue diving below. So Dangwu, once again, making, I think, very logical, reasonable plays here, just not getting the item he needs. Has to go to probably the slowest check, the one unknown, below on-rack, in order to find what he's looking for. But he's going to run out of locations pretty soon.
I was going to say, I'd be surprised to see him check mermaids. I mean, you're still looking for a ribbon. There are quite a few chests on there, and it's completely safe, but technically don't need it.
Yep. Meanwhile, Demon Frog is on the chime, so this will be his last feed. Demon Frog is about to be our first runner in full no mode.
Well, technically it'll be go mode. As soon as he sees Lich, it's like, oh, okay, I'm done.
Well, he has to go kill 2 more fiends, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But he knows exactly where they are, and he's going to be having no problem at all. Every moment that Deng Wu spends going somewhere that's not on rack. Ooh. So, you know, being the fighter player, opening up a few more boxes, but finds an Aegis Shield +5. So that is a beefy, beefy fighter, man.
And there is Lich for Demon Frog. So Demon Frog at this point is in full go mode.
Wow. Okay, Volcano Armory, this check is paying off quite nicely. White shirt, second ribbon, Aegis +5. But the problem is, these chests take time to check, and every second that he spends here is a second that the other runners have. Deng Wu still checking something else first. Once again, makes a ton of sense, but this is just going to mean that Demon Frog might be our first runner in the Temple of Fiends Revisit. This just goes to show, even with the lost grind, just how much of an exploration lead Demon Frog had.
Yeah, because here's carry, and then after that it's just going to be TO1.
Yeah, and Demon Frog has the 42 black belt. He has everything he needs. I don't think DVS has anywhere left to check, except for on rack. We may be wrong. Meanwhile, Deng Wu, I don't know if he has anything left to check other than on rack as well.
So I'm not sure, I couldn't see the number exactly, but I could have sworn I saw like a 1200 or a 1700 hit from that black belt onto carry, and if it was 1700, that means we almost rolled 300% on the health.
Yeah,
Classic Gamer confirming it was 1700, so we rolled close to max HP on carry 1.
Yeah, so Demon Frog is going to be our first runner in the Temple of Fiends Revisited. After losing a grind, wow, that's so impressive. Will Trash Island Fire Department's dominance continue?
Yeah, they looked extremely strong in weeks 1 through 4, and it's looking potentially like that might be continuing, but still do need to clear out Topher.
And Topher is by no stretch a cakewalk. DVS also deciding he's going to get his last Orb Lit, so that's going to put him in the same position as Deng Wu, where they just need to go to on rack. We'll see who ends up going there first.
And TO1 doing Ink, so that's scary.
Chadbert finding Elfland, that's a really nice pickup. Getting to get fast on both the Red Mage and the Black Mage. Oh, and Deng Wu looks like he's making the play. Nope, he's checking his map. And there we go. He is going to on rack.
And DVS
also going to on rack.
Did he stop and get his crystal though? It's not marked on the tracker.
He did.
Okay.
He did get his crystal, yeah. Meanwhile, Demon Frog doing last minute shopping before he goes. Oh wait, Deng Wu checking Waterfall first. Is that where on rack is? Is it just the on rack continent, or am I confused? Oh, he's going. Okay, he's doing the crown tournament first. Okay.
Yeah, I think on-rack is at on-rack.
Yeah, I thought so too. Okay, Demon Frog about to enter Topher at the 1 hour 26 minute mark. That, of course, Topher is the Temple of Fiends Revisit, going back 2,000 years into the past. DVS going to be maybe a minute and a half behind him. And Deng Wu probably not much further than that, maybe another minute and a half behind. So these runners, very, very, very close. Easily within a Topher wipe of each other. Also within a Trance Lobster of each other, just saying.
That is true. We do have it's not just the fiends we have to worry about. Some of the monsters on the way are kind of nasty as well. And there's the key, so DVS is now in go mode.
30 to 300% scaling is nothing to joke about.
Once you're done, you can joke about it.
Yes. And I don't know if he has anything left to check, but I think he's going to be going. Meanwhile, Dangwoo taking on another war mech. This is, of course, like, Dangwoo has all the levels, all the safety. That fighter, that comp is really going to be strong, but every second he's not in on-rack is a second that these other runners have a chance to catch up, or, well, sorry, get farther ahead. I do think Dangwoo has the best, the safest party for Temple of Fiends Revisited, though. But Dangwoo's going to have to hope that this is a nasty, nasty Temple of Fiends Revisited at this point.
Yeah, I think something to note as well. I don't believe DVS has been back to Provoca since class changing, as I believe Provoca was a few floors deep, so I believe we're only on the 1 life 2 caster, or just 1 life caster in general. With White Mage.
I don't think so. I think he went to Provoca after he promoted.
Did he?
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out if we see a spell list.
Yeah, but so there we go. At the 1 hour 27 minute mark, DVS also in the Temple of Fiends Revisited, and Dangwoo, keep your eyes peeled because this madman is going to be flying through Topher, and Dangwoo, one of the best executors in the game, really knows how to run these double melee comps, often with Thief, but no slouch at all, and in many ways this fighter with this Knight with Life is even stronger than that Thief, and the 42 black belt certainly is. So Dangwoo going to be making very good time once he gets into the Temple of Fiends Revisited. It is not unusual to see people make up a 1 Fiend deficit just on execution alone, although 2 may be pushing it for most of the time, unless, really bad things happen.
Kind of surprised to see DVS leave the 1 Black Wizard petrified, because it's just
run chance.
Run chance you don't have.
Yeah, so Dangwoo making the play, but he's going to have a 2 Fiend deficit on both runners, assuming they continue to make it through, I would guess. As Demon Frog already threw Carry 1, flying through this Temple of Fiends Revisited, but the first true Gatekeeper coming up, Trance Lobsters. I mean, Kraken 2 gets away, about to... Wow, more lobsters. Woo!
Heard you like Trance Lobsters, so we gave you more.
Okay, gets away again. Those are 2 very scary encounters. But yeah, here we go. Demon Frog about to pull very, very scary Kraken 2. Let's see if he makes any adjustments. Ooh, this water pack first, too.
Yeah, unrunnable waters. That's not what you want to see.
And boom, Dangwoo hits go mode at the 1 hour 29 minute mark. Meanwhile, as you can see, these runners getting stuck in regular encounters, not something that you see in a lot of dives here, but yeah. Okay, he does have softs. I was like, does he not have softs? Meanwhile, Demon Frog's still in this water fight. Not surprising, but oh, painful. Just slowing him down. We have to see if they went in on the same power cycle. Meanwhile, Dangwoo's deciding I need to go to Elfland, so, slowing down his Temple of Fiends Revisited dive even more. I wonder if there's an element of metagaming here. Knowing that he's an hour 30 in and no one's finished yet, he might be thinking that this is a really tough Temple of Fiends Revisited, but with Black Belt comps, that's very unlikely.
I think he's just thinking, double melee if fast is here, which,
yeah.
He's going to find it right here. I'd almost be surprised if he just grabs fast, like, that's all I need, I'm done.
No, looks like he is going to continue on. Is leaving heal 3 behind. Okay, yeah, and he's exiting out. Fast is what he was looking for. Meanwhile, Kraken going on. Fast goes off. This black belt is beefy. Lock goes off. These are the spells he needs to go off. Fast goes off. This is looking good for Demon Frog. This next punch should do it. Now, what he needs to not happen is Kraken to one-punching his black belt. Very, very, very unlikely, but it can happen. 300% scaling. Ooh, that's only 2 hits. Lock going to be needed.
Yep, that Kraken... See, when we talk about the fact that Kraken can hit for over 1,000, it proved it right there. Kraken will do Kraken things sometimes, and doesn't matter what your health is or what your level is, you will get one shot.
And there we go, at the 1 hour 31 minute mark. Dangwoo also in the Temple of Fiends Revisited. Demon Frog with a 3 Fiend lead and DVS with a 1.5-ish Fiend lead, as DVS is about to take on Carry. But I will say that fighting with the fighter is likely going to be a lot slower than fighting with the black belt. So we could see Dangwoo make up ground here. Meanwhile, Demon Frog sailing through things with that huge black belt. That looks like a level 50 black belt, or at least a high 40s black belt.
Yeah, we had a nuke on Carry. Took down both black mages. I think Fast got off, but I think that's about it.
I missed those damage numbers, but that's going to be very important. Meanwhile, Demon Frog taking on Tia 2. Let's see if he gets some turn order here. Okay, Fast going off. That's probably the single most important spell, and you can see how important that is despite the fact that he's casting it twice. Bane going off. Ineffective across the board. 3 fast casts by Demon Frog.
You want to make sure.
2,000 damage per hit. Tia 2 goes down. Demon Frog onto the big man himself. And here we go. Demon Frog taking on Chaos, leading off with Lock and Fast. Yep, there we go. Lock, Fast. Gonna be and Wall. Interesting. So actually with the level 50 black belt, I'm pretty sure that Wall does nothing, but really wants to make sure.
Any kind of elemental insta kills are 3/256 at this point. So
yeah. Getting turn order though, really big there. Gonna be able to do some more casts here, getting lock off. Meanwhile, DVS still on this carry fight, and this is really giving Dangwoo an opportunity to catch up, as this carry is going to be going down very quickly for that black belt. This is one of the major benefits of that black belt compared to the fighters. It's just doing so much more damage. Yeah, sorry, Classic Gamer is correctly pointing out that Wall will make sure that he resists all of the elemental spells as well. But Dangwoo making up that Fiend deficit as DVS still on this carry fight. And Dangwoo right there. And Demon Frog terminates Chaos at the 1 hour 34 minute mark with an official SRL time of 1 hour 34 minutes and 19 seconds. GG to Demon Frog, who comes in first place, continuing the Trash Island Fire Department's winning streak, getting 15 critical points for his team.
Yep, is definitely the best way to start the week off, and we'll see what happens. Dangwoo does take a nuke from Carry. Down goes one of the black mage, and that white mage is on death's door. But punch, black belt happens, or I guess master in this case.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Chadbert is making the critical play here, but I don't believe he has the crystal, so he's going to have to come back. And looks like that water fight was off the power cycles. DVS running into the same thing. I think Dangwoo might be on a different encounters table, though, because that was a lobster, unless he gets 2 back-to-back party packs. He looks like he's on a different encounter table, so he might dodge this water pack, which would be a really nice benefit for Dangwoo.
I think the nice thing is Demon Frog only had Ice 2, whereas DVS does have Ice 3 on those block mages, and I believe Ice 3 doesn't really share with any critical spells. Lit 3 and Brack, so nothing critical that you actually really need outside of getting rid of these. But down goes one of the black mages.
And we are joined in the booth by our first place finisher, Demon Frog, GG, saying that he forgot to move his black belt on Kraken and had to hold his breath there.
I was so panicked. It was bad.
You made it through, though, and to be honest, you made that Topher look like a little bit of a cakewalk.
50 black belts with fast and, lock tend to make most Temple of Fiends okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Both Carry and Kraken had first spell nuke, though, which I think you avoided in both cases just by doing 2,000 damage in a punch.
Yeah, if you don't get into their spell list or skill list, then, all the better for me.
Mm-hmm. Classic Gamer saying if you hide the black belt in the back row, Kraken's desire sensor will go off and one-punch him anyways.
That may or may not have happened in a practice and I rage quit, yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so while our runners kind of just continue on as Dengwu already onto Tia 2 and DVS onto Kraken 2, kind of any, initial thoughts coming out of that seed?
It was really nice finding the 3-eye tile so early and just like, okay, whenever I feel like I can grind it, then we go. So that really sped things up. Found a ribbon pretty early, and with black belt, I knew one ribbon is totally doable, so I could forego checking a bunch of boxes. I could forego checking a bunch of trap tiles. And then just like it was like around the 45-minute mark, we just picked up a bunch of key items. Like, okay, now it's time. It's time to go get strong.
Well, around the 45-minute mark, you picked up a bunch of key items. Everyone else did their grind earlier, and we didn't know, how that strategy would pay off. You took a little bit of a wipe, but then even after losing the grind, you were still the first member, the first player into the Temple of Fiends Revisited by a fair margin. So that was definitely really impressive, really well routed, I think, and you really cleaned up those key items quickly, and then your grind was faster because of putting it off for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I did like a little mini grind because all you had was fire too early just to get those explorer levels. You can survive dives. Yeah, losing the first little mini grind was like 100% user error. Should have used warp. Could have used warp. Would have been nice. Didn't do it.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't have warp. Okay. Yeah.
I just forgot to use it.
Okay, we have to turn our attention to the top right screen, as this is what can happen. We are down to a solo black belt on Dengwu's screen. If you're going to have a solo character or level 50 black belt with a defense sword, is probably what you want. But here he goes. Meanwhile, DVS getting through Kraken with 2 life casters up, so that's what he needs. But Dengwu about to take on the big man himself, Mono y Mono.
Defense sword, that's for wimps. Seriously, where was the defense sword though?
It was in less than greater than.
Okay, yeah.
Which is Mirage 2 for people who aren't familiar with that terminology. And here we go. Defense sword first turn gets turn order. That's important. First punch 144, but only a single punch hits. This is looking so far so good for Dengwu. 3 defense casts get off up to maximum evade. Remember way back over an hour ago? Yeah, 3 casts of defense, 6 evasion stacks, is up to max evade, and is punching for a decent amount of damage. Meanwhile, Chaos comes out with Nuclear, only tickles him. Back-to-back Nuclears on this Chaos. This is getting a little bit scarier here, but punches are missing. So if you're cheering for Dengwu, you just want that Chaos to keep on punching. Skill-less for Chaos is Nuclear Poison. That's definitely scary. Punches are getting through, but without that crit change, it's making a big difference. But Chaos continues to punch and miss. Have to hope this is not a 6,000 HP Chaos here. 3 hits, 333 damage. Meanwhile, DVS taking on Tiamat, but keep your eyes peeled in the top right. That's a big hit. That's what Dengwu's looking for. 4 hits, almost 500 damage. Another 4 hits, almost 444 damage, and down goes the big man himself, Dengwu of Team Quake and Brack, our second place finisher with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 20 seconds. GG to Dengwu. Oh!
And I saw while Deng was on it, Tiamat has Cure 4 and just landed a slow 2. Oh no!
Now, the one good thing is he did have fast off, so at least he is only down to 5 hits, not down to 1. So the way slow 2 and fast interact is it's a scale from 0 to 2. If you're at 2, it's 2 times your hits. If you're at 1, it's 1 times your hits. And if it's 0, it's number of hits to the power of 0, so you'll get 1 hit.
I don't think DVS has the damage, because Tia's casting spells too often and getting to that Cure 4, and it's just 100 damage per round. There's a nice swing. We kind of need those and need Tia to start punching and not casting spells like that.
Yeah, Tiamat is well over 2,000 HP, somewhere between 2,000 and 4,000. And did that second slow 2 hit? No, it didn't. Okay, it missed. But still, this is, not looking good for DVS. His best play here might be to try and get into a crit loop. So the way that you try and do that is you just hold a for a couple punches in a row. If you don't get it, you do a quick menu and try and hold A again. What you're really trying to do is make the game repeat its RNG cycle so that you continue to get the same effect. And if he can get into a RNG loop where Tiamat is only punching and he is only punching back, then that will win him this fight. But I don't think outside of that there's a way for DVS to win this.
Yeah, and to the crit loop, it's random. Like, you have to be frame perfect, so it's not like something you can intend to do. You can just try to do it and hope you get it.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, as you can say, you can intend to do it or try to do it, but there's no way to choose that it happens. And there's no like perfect execution where you get it and you miss execution and you don't. So this break is what Chadbert needs. Is finding the grind on these rock galls. The eye tile right below, but Chadbert with the key looks like he just has a couple orbs left to light. Going to be in a very good position, and DVS resets. Where are you going, DVS? What is the adjustment you're making?
Temper.
Is it temper? Because he reset out, and the second time down he forgot to get it.
Yep, that's got to be what he's going back for, is temper.
So
just for that right there.
One up, asking in chat, Cure 4 is a full heal. Yes, that is correct. So DVS, small mistake not getting temper. The reset out was fine because he knew he was going down again, but not getting it on the second dive through, and that really cost him there. Meanwhile, Chadbert making up some ground here. This black belt is going to be very powerful, and we saw what that high level black belt can do.
Going back and getting temper was on my radar but I was like, no, I'm too close. Do it, and if I die and it looked like temper would have made it, then I'll go get it, because it was just a bit of a hike to go get it.
Yeah, temper's almost never the thing that you need for a black belt when you die in Temple of Fiends Revisited. It's almost always, if you don't have lock, that can be a major problem, or maybe it's needing like a defense sword if you don't have enough invis, but usually it's not that you need to do more damage per punch. So it looks like Chadbert's done his going back in one more time. But Chadbert just wrapping up his grind. Meanwhile, DVS about to make his second dive. And it looks like Dengwu is debating doing an interview. We will have to see. That 39, yep, so a few more fights, and this black belt will be very good. Now, we talked a lot about how good the eyes are. The eyes are just safer than these rock galls, but these rock galls are also worth a ton of EXP, so not a bad grind by any stretch here. And in many seeds, rock galls, that you can nuke down are a preferred grind.
I think the biggest thing here is the off step. You can catch those ghosts, and ghosts hit pretty hard. Where the eye grind was, the tile above a wall is safe, so you go up and down there, and you would never get that off-step encounter and run the risk of trans slopsters or punchy ghosts or whatever the heck Seath decided to throw at us today.
Mm-hmm. And I do want to point out that I'm pretty sure that Chadbert has the key as well, even though it's not tracked. So that means he is just missing a few Fiend kills, and he will also be ready to take on the Temple of Fiends Revisited. So a very close run between our bottom two runners right now for the third place, and that is very important points.
And if you know where the Fiends are, like I'm looking at my tracker now, or my timer now, Fiend 2 at 122.51, Fiend 3 123.50, Fiend 4 125.32. So once he gets the levels, if he knows where they are, he can clean them up like super quick.
Yeah, so checking his notes, this hover right here, that is the check my notes hover. And there we go. Off to go kill his first fiend in Crescent Lake, I believe. Yep, there we go. DVS taking on Lich. Lich, not a problem, but you're going to have to keep your eyes peeled for that Tiamat 2 fight.
Yeah, that's definitely the big one, because Tia was looking like, very, very close to, I think, that 300% with Cure 4, and he loved using spells, so you need to get that damage up as quickly as possible. So maybe get a fast and temper up, maybe some locks. Hope you can get some of that off, because it got pretty nasty pretty quick.
Also, this is a scene where you had to kind of respect a Lich a little bit. Like, I was like, alright, haha, lol, Lich. I'll just punch fire 3, fire 3, fire 3. He actually lived.
Yeah, and I think this flag so far, kind of putting these different parties on display, really went to show that the black belt with that early grind was a major player here. Definitely made this Temple of Fiends Revisited a lot safer. But with some temper in tow, we will see if DVS has more luck. Meanwhile, Chadbert already onto some Fiend killing. This is going to go very quickly. Blink and you'll miss it. Carry 2. Although Carry 1 has a bunch of HP. We may see dueling carry fights. Here we go. Chadbert taking on the first carry. Swing, swing. Fast. And nothing.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of these fiends just, maybe not carry, but like, Tia, we saw carry 1. A lot of these fiends end up, at least on the health side, rolled very high. And, carry, we're seeing some pretty good shots out of this night. And yeah, carry was surviving a good bit too. So probably, that 200, 300% range.
Yeah, and here we go. Chadbert right in behind. Remember, we saw a very, very, very similar starting position for DVS versus high-level black belt, and Dangwu just flew by him. Here we go. Chadbert entering the Temple of Fiends Revisited. Just 2 fiends behind. He is going to be flying through this, though, so keep your eyes peeled for the fans of the Center for Competitive Forfeiting.
The interesting thing to see, I'm not sure, as I didn't see, but if he did a off the hard reset, I guess we'll find out right now. He did it looks like off soft. So it's like off the hard. We know those unrunnable waters would be coming, but we'll see what kind of encounters he gets on the way down.
Yeah, that's a really good point. A lot of people go into Topher on a hard reset the first time, but then if you don't like it, they'll change it up, trying to manipulate those encounters, as you said. So, getting through this Gershark Wizzaheg tile. And here we go, Chadbert into, the core part of this dive. One black belt down, but that's not the end of the world here. Heal 3's coming out. Continuing to punch on that fighter, but not doing much damage. Needs another lock off here. But going for Bane's instead. Bane's very low, and that's going to be no more locks left. Uh-oh. Nuke comes out, down to a solo fighter. DVS going to be holding his breath here. This is a very scary Kraken fight. He is in hold A and pray mode. Cracked, exactly what you're looking for on that ribboned up fighter.
My heart still skips when I see Cracker and he instant kills.
Oh, Kraken comes out with the nuclear, but super low rolls it. Oh man, this knight, not much HP left. Going with heal 3 strats, this is risky, but could pay off. Fire 2 comes out. Okay, just going to go for swings again. Needs the Kraken to keep on punching. Very similar to the position Dangwu was in, but gets through. That's a big win there, and the fighter gets up to level 29. Usually 29 is a critical breakpoint for the defense sword, but because the defense sword is plus, he already had the 5 hits he needed. And luckily that knight has the life spell to get that life casting white mage back up, and DVS through. Meanwhile, Chadbert only 2 fiends behind on Lich, gonna be punching super hard and gonna get through these a lot faster than DVS will. It's a race to chaos. Here we go, though. DVS's Nightmare fight needs to get off Tempers, Fast, and Lock in order for this fighter to be able to get through Tiamat's HP. One Black Mage already down. Okay, gets off a Fast and a Temper. That might be enough. But one more round will hopefully secure this here in terms of being able to do enough damage. White Mage survives a punch. That's enough cast of Invis 2. Needs to get off. Okay, one more Temper. Instead of going for Lock, going for Temper.
Yeah, I think we only got one lock off the last time, so we know this is not too evasive, and yeah, we're seeing 9 for 973, so definitely we're seeing things like that has the damage this time. Should not be a problem.
Yeah, Temper, the key in having your Black Mages survive long enough to get it off. And really, this Tiamat, I think, is more of a gatekeeper than Chaos.
Yeah, Chaos didn't look like he had anything really too scary from what we saw. Granted, we didn't see him for too terribly long.
He didn't have a ton of HP either, though, because Deng Wu was only punching for like 300 and it took like 10 rounds. So, under 3,000 HP.
And there was the Cure 4, so Tia back to full health.
But this time we have a buff Knight.
Yes, we're at about 1350 damage right now.
Yeah, but note, if this Tia gets another round off, this is just giving Chadbert an opportunity to catch up, because he is not going to have nearly the same problems. So this needs to, if DVS hits another Cure 4, that's going to really suck. Slow 2 missed as well, or hit the White Mage.
So, doing math, yeah, Tia was between like 2,500 to 3,000 health. I'm pretty sure it's close to that 3,000, if not over.
Yeah. And, and here we go, DVS doing his final adjustments. And Chadbert 2 Fiends behind, but DVS taking on Chaos, unless he gets into like a horrible single Knight strategy here, unlikely to be the difference. So center for competitive forfeiting, hoping for a wipe here from DVS. Here he goes, starting off with Invis 2. So it made an adjustment, moved his white shirt to his Black Mage so he can double up on evasion casts. I don't know if that's the play I would have made, because with the defense, I'm not too worried about Chaos punching me down. I'm much more worried about me not getting off enough spells. Like 3 stacks of evasion, probably okay, but that's the play you decide to make. So 4 stacks on that Knight already, so he's going to be flying through in terms of getting evasion stacks up. But yeah, here we go, now coming out the Tempers, now going out one more round of defense. That's going to be 6 stacks of evasion. This Invis 2 helping out everyone else. Meanwhile, Chadbert running into that same water pack, but is going to get through it. One more stack of Temper going out, another stack of Temper out. This Knight is getting buffed, and we know this Chaos doesn't have a lot of HP. So, things so far so good for this dive for DVS. One lock goes out. This is going to hit for like not 1,000 damage. Needs a little bit more it needs a little bit more lock, I think, but otherwise looking pretty good.
Have we seen Fast? I think he just went straight for Tempers. I don't know if we've actually seen a Fast yet.
I think I think it was Fast turn 1.
Okay.
Yeah. But if this Temper lock goes off, this Knight's going to be hitting for 600 damage, and this fight will not be going on for very much longer. But Chadbert right behind him on Kraken 2. Kraken doing some dodgy things.
Trying to get some cheeky bracks just in case. It can hit. It's chances are it won't, but it can. Still only 8 for 253, so a lot of absorb on the Chaos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you're seeing these black belts punch through, like it really goes to show just how beefy these 30 to 300% scalings can be. But still, these are roughly the same damage numbers that Deng Wu was getting. This will end. And he has the safety of additional Cure 4 strats as well. So, only scary thing for DVS at the moment is, if there's a nuclear hiding somewhere, but that's very unlikely. No Cure 4, no slow 2s, and the only other scary thing is if Chadbert catches up. Looks like we have a slideshow going on DVS's side, so turn your attention over to Chadbert. It looks like, okay, so according to SRL, DVS, I think, got the last punch and may have just ended his stream, as DVS finished in 3rd place, with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 11 seconds.
So everybody get your GGs in chat. And it looks like he's in the waiting room, so I guess we'll grab him too.
Yeah, and he's watching Chadbert's stream right now, as he's been waiting. So they are on a 10-minute delay, so he just tuned into that. So GG's to DVS. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish.
Oh, hey, thanks, guys.
Meanwhile, Chadbert not far behind, onto the final Tiamat 2 fight here. Or sorry, onto the Chaos fight, as he just got through Tiamat 2. It looks like DVS, you turned your Streamlabs back on, but with your browser window, because it's catching Chadbert's restream. But
oops, sorry.
It's all good. So yeah, actually we'll cheer Chadbert through here, as he's doing 9 hits, big hits. This is something that we haven't seen since Demon Frog did the big damages because of Dangwoo not having the availability of fast and temper and lock, but this is going to be a very quick fight for Chadbert. Going for some fire 3, 2 more punches probably from this black belt here, trying to get Exver to land. Exver, of course, going to be able to give Brack a 6% chance, so it's 2 6% chances in a row in order to try and Brack Chaos. There we go, 7 hits, Chaos 1 punch away. Exver does not hit. Chaos coming out with Ice 3, not going to do too much here.
Does a little bit of damage, but he's going to have to do a lot more if he wants to kill that black belt before black belt punches him.
And oh, 1 more. He survives. Oh, sorry, my apology, class. Yeah, sorry. Exver has 27% chance to hit, and then you need to hit 6% on Brack in order to Exver Brack Chaos. Clearly, I don't do the hardcore flag sets. And here we go. With that punch, 7 hits, 865. Chadbert has finished in 4th place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 18 seconds. GG to Chadbert. And we are joined in the booth by Chad. GG's, Chad. It may just take a second for Chad to get everything set up to hear us here, but as we wait, we kind of talked to Demon Frogs briefly. DVS, anything you wanted to kind of point out about the seed or any highlights?
Yeah, I've been practicing black belt, black mage, white mage for the last week, and it's gone horribly wrong pretty much every flag or every practice run. So I decided to do the fighter to be safer. And the second I saw those eyes with that black shirt, I knew that black belt was the better play. So I mean, I knew I was already coming from behind. I think it was, Topher, my first dive didn't go my way, especially since I reset out of buying temper and didn't realize I had reset out of buying temper. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a really good flag set to do floor entrance, but also to stretch us late into the tournament. So
yeah, awesome. We'll see if Chad, we can't hear you, but your mic is showing up, so having some small technical difficulties with getting you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Chad. GG's, Chad.
Thank you, GG, everyone.
Yeah, so maybe like any initial thoughts for you as well, as you finishing up in 4th place, but not very far behind DVS. Kind of any thoughts? I saw your comment in SRL, so maybe you can.
Where are the towns at? Yes, that was the big one. Is I think I was like an hour in. I found my 2nd or 3rd town at that point, and then the required double dip on rack at on rack. That was fun. Otherwise, I love entrance floor shuffle. So at the very least, even if I didn't quite catch DVS, I enjoyed it a lot.
I like the Center for Competitive Forfeiting comments in chat right now. Anyways, let's, kind of to wrap things up here. So GG to all our runners. Looks like our second place finisher Dangwoo not going to be joining us in the booth here, but I'll pass things over to Demon Frog to kind of give us his final thoughts, anything he wants to say, any smack talk, as Trash Island TIFD dominance continues.
No trash talk. I was really nervous coming in. I raced Chaos Rush on Thursday, then our team had to kind of finagle some move around some, so I only had 3 days to kind of prep for this. So was just super nervous coming into this. I do agree with what was said earlier. This was like a really difficult flag set to really to really accentuate that. Yes, we're in the playoffs now, boys. It's no more easy stuff. This is only the first race, so we got 3 more to go. So, I came in first this time, but it doesn't mean that we can't be knocked out, the next race or two. So, we got a lot of strong people coming up here Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing is decided here. So, as Demon Frog was saying, Tuesday at 10
o'clock. 10, yep.
10 Eastern, Thursdays at 9 Eastern, and then Saturday at 1 in the afternoon. Those are the times you're looking for if you want to catch the rest of the Final Fantasy Randomizer Fall League. We kind of vary between our channels, so follow our Facebook page, join our Discord if you're curious about the exact specifics of that. You'll get announcements, you'll be able to spectate, or you can even start running your own races. Passing it over to our third place finisher, DVS. Any final thoughts?
I did, and then it completely left my head. No, I think, like I said, this. I think, this particular seed, it's kind of interesting because normally when you're doing floor entrance, there's a little bit more linearity to it, but this one was kind of all over the map. I think, I know that Dangwoo and I were probably pretty close going into that first dive. And as I went 10 rounds with Tia, who seemed to max roll her HP, and then Carrie didn't go well, and then Kraken was fine. But then the Tia fight, which just everything that could go wrong did go wrong. I'm pretty sure. I was saying in our little team chat after I finished that I was really hoping for Massa, Bonk, or Vorpal, any one of those 3 things I think would have gotten me through that Tia fight. Or if you had a Thief, the Katana -2 isn't the best, but it's still going to have a much better crit rate. So, I love racing in this community. I was super nervous about this run too. And, we'll see how the next couple days go as you, Link, and Foolish Feline represent us in the upcoming races.
Well, thank you very much, DVS. And moving over to Chadbert, our fourth place finisher. Any kind of final thoughts? And if you want to expand a little bit more on what you were speaking about earlier, absolutely, as we kind of cut straight to this.
It's okay. I'm just happy to be here, honestly. I'm happy that we made the playoffs, so it's my first playoff game. And
nice.
Keeping it close to DVS, I'm reasonably happy with that. So
yeah, congratulations.
I'll see if I can actually get some points.
Yeah, I think Chadbert, you were in the same, you kind of started around the same time as us. So first playoff game, very, very impressive after only playing the game for less than a year.
Yep.
Really, really impressive. And it's really a testament to our Duckling program, which, if you don't know, is our new player introductory program. Starting up very, very soon. We're starting the seeds. We're going to be starting the showcases in 2 weeks, I believe. So, or actually, it's in November, but after the Fall League ends in 2 weeks, you're going to be able to come check that out. So if you want to learn to play Final Fantasy Randomizer, no better time than joining in November and coming and joining our Duck League. Anything else, Chadbert?
Looking forward to the rest of the week and see if the rest of my team can do better.
Yeah, Thank you very much. Caleb was here cheering you on. We'll have to see how your other teammates do. And that's pretty much it for me. I will pass it over to my fantastic co-commentary, Sir Linklock, to wrap us up. I do just want to give a quick shout out to Ale, Shadowed Flames, and Dark Moon for helping out behind the scenes with tracking and restreaming. But Sir Linklock, take us away.
Yeah, just GG to all 4 runners. Thanks to AL, Shadow Flames, and Dark Moon for doing the tracking and the restreaming. Thanks to everybody for watching, because we wouldn't be doing the restreams if there wasn't somebody to watch us to begin with. Hope everybody enjoyed the race, and somebody will be here to commentate, restream, do what we need to, so you can all catch the next race on Tuesday night at 10 Eastern.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.